Hello, Benji.
Hello, Mr. Clark.
How are you?
Just fine. Everybody ready and situated? Got your refreshment? All right, my name is Benji Mattingly. I'm the principal at Western Elementary School. This evening, I'm going to talk to you about our unbridled learning, or sort of our K-Prep results. At this time, we ranked 156 out of 730 elementary schools. Three things that I'm happy about is that we're still categorized as a proficient school. And the other areas that I'm also happy is that our science is still at 100%. As you can see down here, and I'm going to point some more of these out, is that we have a whole lot of students in this area scoring at the proficient and distinguished area. But this is only one particular grade, which was fourth grade last year. And I'll point out some other areas of those things and some of the other subject areas. Another area that I'm happy about is in the area of GAP. As you can see at the elementary level, we have three categories. We have achievement, GAP, and growth. In the GAP area, which is students, mostly at our school, is mostly students who are free reduced rate with lunch. Our reading went up about 2 points in the area of reading, meaning those students who were coming from broken homes or poverty or anything else, we're actually helping improve in that area of the GAP area, which is important to me because it means some of those kids don't always have the same opportunities as some of our other students. Three areas that I'm concerned about is our reading and our math achievements. We went from an overall score from an 83 to an 80.1. We went down about 1 or 2 or 3 points in each individual area. As you can see up here with reading, we have to, this is, as you can see, there's more numbers down here than compared to here. This was just one grade level. The reason why there's more here is because it's 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade students taking reading and math. But as you can see, we have to work on improving our areas of novice and apprentice and moving them up to proficient and distinguished. This is not acceptable at all for the area of reading and math. And the area of reading and math is two big areas that we have to continue to work on targeting. So like I said, that's the one area of concern I have. The other area of concern I have is down here in the growth area. We have to continue to move students up no matter what level they're at. To explain this in the area of growth, what the state did 2 years ago is those students who were in around, I think, 3rd and 4th grade who took the reading and math, they gave them a test, and whatever they scored, everybody in the whole state, okay, they said this student scored here, other students in the whole state scored there as well. That's where they were ranked at. Each kid was different. So when the kids took the reading and math the next year, which was last year, they looked at that kid's first score and how they ranked with every student in the state of Kentucky. And how did they do to the second test, and did they make growth or not make growth? Our students did not make enough growth as they needed to make. And thus, this is the second area that we have to be concerned about, is that no matter where the kids started, the goal is they continue to make that growth. No matter if they have an IEP, no matter where they're at, they have to continue to make growth, pure and simple. The other areas that I'm concerned about that we have to continue to work on is our language mechanics and our writing. As you can see up here in achievement, our language mechanics went down 7 points. In the GAP group, we went down 12 points. I'm sorry, went up in there. So here, overall, they went down. Our GAP went up, but we need to make sure we bring all of our students. But we have to continue to improve in these areas across the board, especially in the area of writing. In the area of writing, sometimes it's a little misleading is that a multiple choice is more of a lower level question. You have answers at the bottom, you can sort of guesstimate on certain things. Writing, short answers, on demands, or open-ended questions are asking kids to explain, describe, compare and contrast certain things. And if they don't know what those specific words mean, it's hard to know what the question's asking them to be able to write it down. And it's at a higher level of questioning. So those are the three areas that I'm concerned on. The next steps that we're working on at West Marion is continuing to target all students in the area of reading and math, not just 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade who get assessed by the K-Prep. It's from kindergarten all the way through 5th grade, continuing to make sure that our kids are improving in the area of reading as well as in mathematics. Excuse me. The other areas, like I said, continuing to work on the language mechanics across the board. We went down in this area, but we went up in this area. So we have to make sure that even if these students are in our gap, we have to also improve all the other students who are not in that gap group. But we also have to make sure that if they can do the language mechanics, they have to be able to apply those things into their actual writing assignments and be able to answer those questions at a higher level. Because if we only ask them low-level questions, they're only going to give us low-level answers back. But if we incorporate higher-level questions to get the kids to think more, be able to describe, be able to identify things more, they're going to give us back at higher-level answers. But we have to incorporate, intentionally target higher-level questions to make sure we're putting those into our everyday lessons instruction. The other areas is not only working on incorporating new strategies for our students to do different things to help improve, but also incorporating new strategies for our teachers to help implement different things to help continue to make growth as an educational professional. And we do that by different professional learning communities, by professional development, learning new trainings, learning how to incorporate those higher level questions, but also hopefully in time with our district getting instructional coaches that they can also go into the classroom and help provide teachers with feedbacks to help improve their teaching. That's the same job as our job as instructional coaches, is that we have to continue to get in those classrooms, see what we're doing well, but also see what we need to do to continue to improve, so we continue to make that growth in all three of these areas. We don't want to just improve our gap, we want to improve all areas and continue to make growth. Now the growth area, which is, as you heard Ms. Newcomb say earlier, which is the annual measurable objectives, which is sort of the No Child Left Behind, we're not realistically held accountable because of the waiver that the state got. But this is still important for us because we want to continue to make growth no matter what. And this is the new part of the state's accountability, is that we have to continue to improve in all three of these areas so that our overall proficiency score will move up to a distinguished score. There's about, if you recall the numbers with Ms. Newcomb's presentation, there's about maybe 5 or 6 points difference and maybe about 9 points difference here before we're actually distinguished. Any questions?
How has the accountability system changed this year from 3 years ago?
How has it changed?
Right.
I think the biggest thing that has changed is that, for example, in the area of GAP, the size of our school, we might have been more held accountable for the GAP group or other special areas, for example, special ed, or other schools might have been accountable for African Americans, where we would not have that category. If their school was smaller, they weren't held accountable for it. But because of the size of our school and we had more students, we were held accountable for it. Nowadays, with the growth component, that is not the case anymore. The case now is that no matter where your kid's at, no matter if they are here, they're here, they're here, they have to continue to make growth, pure and simple. To me, that's the one component that I like the most. It's not about grouping all the kids and say, oh, all these kids have to do this. It's about grouping the kids based on what they scored in their ability levels. And are they continuing to make growth compared to all the other students that scored at that level in this entire state, not just Marion County. To me, those are two of the big difference things. You know, we still have the novice and apprentice to give people an idea of those different things, but no matter what, you know, you still have to continue to make growth for each individual kid. Where previously other schools might not have been held accountable for special ed because they didn't have enough numbers of students identified special ed. Does that make sense? Yeah. Where the size of our school, we were always held accountable for. That to me wasn't fair. That's part of No Child Left Behind, but those are things that they have changed as well.
Thank you, David.
No problem, guys.
It works. Oh no. All right. Well, I am Donna Royce. I'm the principal at Lebanon Elementary School, and I am here to tell you about
Tim being late.
Tim being late. Yes.
I'm tardy.
I'm here to tell you about my piece of that puzzle that Miss Newcomb shared with you. We'll start with our achievement scores, and you see that our reading is up 3 points. Our math went down 2.3. Our science went down 4.8, but still is at 94.5. Our social studies went up 5.6, which we're proud of because that took a lot of work and dedication there to get that up. Our writing is up 4.6, but still is an area of weakness. And our language mechanics scores went up 8.5 to 99.2. So, as I've told other groups, it shows that we understand what a correct sentence is. We know we can identify what's wrong about a sentence. We've just got to learn to put them together to make a right piece. And we're hoping that through our new reading initiative that we have, that we're going to be able to see these scores go up because we're working on Daily 5. And if you're not familiar with what Daily 5 is, it's really a management system of helping students become independent readers and writers. And there's 5 stations that students complete and go through. The most important is learning to read to self and building their stamina. Second is read to someone. I might read to Mr. McFall, and then he would read to me, and then we would talk about what we read to make sure we understood. Word work, that's students there in a group working on vocabulary. We have students working on writing with our reading coach, Miss Walston. She goes around to all the rooms and helps those teachers become familiar with Daily 5, but also modeling and collaborating with them to help them in reading. We also have reading stations where students listen to reading, and hearing good reading is important as them reading themselves, because they can listen to a book that they might not be able to read on their own, but they can listen to it and hear all of that good vocabulary and good reading with expression. So that's important for students to do. As part of that is to listen to reading. And as part of our reading initiative, we have done several things throughout the year to try to encourage and to promote reading. One was not too long, just a week or two ago, we had Jumpstart Read for the Record Day, and we talked about, the book was called Otis, and Otis was a tractor. He was an old tractor that didn't think he was useful anymore. But the kids loved the book, but they also loved being able to go out front and climb up on a tractor. Because you think about where my school is, not many kids have been on a tractor before. So they were thrilled. And then they went to the library with Miss Wood and did a lot of different activities. And we devoted a couple of hours that day to this book and activities related to it. This is our Pig Out on Reading family night, which we held right before Thanksgiving. Ham days, thank you. And here you see a family working on building a book, creating a book of their own. And here is a dad listening to his daughter read. She's probably going to take an AR test or something like that. So we're working on finding a good fit book. Just like we go to the shoe store and we try to find a pair of shoes that fit, we want to make sure our books are good fits so that kids know the words, they understand what the book is about. We're also working on stamina, just like you would work on stamina if you were exercising. You start out a little at a time and gradually work up. And it's the same thing that kids need to do for reading and writing. And we're also trying to create a sense of urgency of our kids to make them realize how important it is that they learn to read. I have some samples of some writing that we're doing. Every student at school has a journal, and it's a literacy journal. And every day after they read, they write about what they've read. This is just as important too as building stamina in reading. They have to get used to putting their words and thoughts on paper. So this is a third grader who started out, and some of her answers were kind of brief, kind of short. But then as the years progressed, you can see how her writing has developed. And if you were to read this, it might not be perfect. It might not have all the words spelled correctly. It may not have all the correct punctuation. But that's not what's important here. The important part of this is that students are truly learning to put their thoughts on paper. A lot of kids can tell you something, but they can't put it on paper. So that's what we're trying to help our writing by doing these literacy journals. Here's another student. Lots of teachers tell me, you know, they started out and they'd write one sentence. This book was about a car. And then the next time they wrote, they might write 2 or 3 sentences. And now, even after just this short time, they are writing full pages of information about their book. So we're seeing a lot of growth. This is a first grader's book. And obviously you can see a difference because first graders are, she's written a very good sentence here, but she's a first grader. And they do their own spelling just by phonetics, how a word sounds. And you can see through here how the teacher has come back and sat with them and helped them to create or put in the correct word. So it's very good writing for a first grader. She's like writing about a piñata here. They wrote about, they had to do a how-to piece. You know, some kids might have written about how to make a peanut butter sandwich. She wrote about how to make a volcano. So this is an exceptional student, but you're still getting an idea. Even a student that might be struggling with reading and writing, she would still, or he would still have some samples of this in their journal. So they're learning to write by increasing their stamina. We also have books of the month where every classroom in the school shares the same book. And this month our book is called Press Here. And it is more of a picture book than it is a word book. And it creates a lot of conversation about what the book is about. So each month we have a different one that every classroom has, and they have a discussion and talk about it and have activities about it. So our reading initiative is going strong. I think we're headed in the right direction. And as you can see, our overall score this year is up 3.5 to 58.8. And if we increase that much again next year, we should be at proficiency. So we're very optimistic and encouraged that we can do that. That's definitely our goal. So we are a school needing improvement, but we're also progressing because we did meet our goal. So does anybody have any questions?
Why is the science scores in the elementary schools so high, but then at the middle school they're much lower?
Well, I can tell you one thing, that science is still being based on 4.0, 4.1. You know, the old standards that we had.
Okay.
Now, what the difference is between going from elementary to middle, I can't answer that one.
It's not, I mean, would it be subject matter? Would it be the time that they get in science or the number of days that they get?
I honestly can't tell you. I don't know. That's a question for middle school somewhere.
Okay.
I don't know.
But I noticed that all the elementaries are high.
Yes, we are. They all are high. Now, next year or a couple of years when we start doing Common Core standards or the next generation science standards, it might be a different story. But our reading is doing great.
Is it?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Everybody feels good about it?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
Thanks.
You ready? Good evening. I'm Jennifer Brogel, the
sorry
new
about
principal at Glasscock Elementary, and I'm here to present the K-Prep scores from last year. I'd like for you to focus on some positive things with me in the green. You'll notice the fourth graders scored an 84.8 in science, and they scored an 81.3 in language mechanics. The fifth graders scored a 71.5 in social studies, but they went down in writing from 49 to 49.1. They had a gain of 2.7. They went up 5.9 points. And a gain in math, they went up 8.4. So if you look at a composite of achievement score was 68.4, and that puts Glasscock slightly below the state average, just slightly. Then when you look at the scores of the purple, that represents our GAP children or our free and reduced lunch population. And if you look at the science, they scored a 60. Look at their language mechanics, the fourth graders scored a 50. And then if you look at the reading, their reading went up to 44.3. In math, they also went up to 37.4, but they went down in writing and social studies. So those are some areas of concern for Glasscock, which is the free and reduced population. Their total GAP score was 41.4, but it's slightly below the state average. Our big gain was our growth. We gained in reading, we gained in math, and our total growth we went up 15.3. That was encouraging news for Glasscock Elementary. And so their total score for growth was 62.0, and that puts us above the state average. So when you combine the growth, the gap, and achievement, you get an overall score of 57.8. For Glasscock, that was a 5.5 point gain from last year. So that was some good news, encouraging news for our faculty and our students. Our percentile ranking, we went from 30th to 51st, and the state deems us as a category of needs improvement and a progressive school. So when you look at our rank, we ranked at 296. Now, I've talked to you about some positive things, and I've talked to you about some things of concern, but I want to tell you the direction that we're going with. We're going to utilize the new instructional coaches that are coming into our building so they can help model with teachers and really focus on learning, tying the learning and the standards together. We're also going to implement Compass Learning. We have 2 fourth grade classes that have already started utilizing Compass Learning this week. We had parent-teacher conferences tonight. We shared passwords with those parents, and so they're excited about this new program. We have one second grade class that is utilizing Compass Learning, and now that the report cards are off our plate, hopefully next week we'll all be doing Compass Learning. Sometimes you have to have a steady diet of new ideas and improvements, and so now that the report cards are finished, we're all jumping into that. And then I asked the teachers, what do you contribute to 57.8, this 5.5 point gain? And they told me they thought it was the intentional planning that they did, that they really named and claimed those needy children that were below reading and below math, and really developed an individualized plan for those children. And so with all that intentional planning, I think that really helped them improve 5.5 points. So I am encouraging them to continue to do that. And those individualized plans, we started September the 24th. We met last week, and we're looking at the progression there. And in November, we'll look at those scores again and make sure that everybody is working with Compass Learning and if we're showing some improvement in that area. So I'm confident that we can get to proficiency. We're not that far away from it. I think it's an attainable goal, and with everybody's hard work and determination, I think we can reach that. Any questions about Glasscock Elementary?
How do you think the teachers are going to accept these coaches that will not evaluating them, but making suggestions and giving them feedback and that sort of thing?
I think they will, because Glasscock has like 3 populations of teachers. You've got the teachers that are my age and older who didn't have the training for this, and then you have the middle, a younger group that they're willing to learn and try new things, but the kids that come right out of college, they've had all this training, they feel comfortable and they move with it. So I really think they'll embrace this idea since we're all moving toward common core goals. But that's where I come into play and encourage them to do that. I'm excited. I think the board has been really smart in initiating all these changes. I think they're moving the school, the district in the right direction.
Your growth level is the highest one in the elementary schools that we've been to so far. How do you plan to maintain that level of growth, or approach that level of growth every year?
Well, with that intentional planning, that's why I think it went up. And we met mid-September. We looked at the children that were below reading and below math, and those teachers went right to work and developed an individual plan for every child. And so we're monitoring that. We're keeping that going. We met last week and went over all those plans, and we're planning to meet again in November. And just you got to stay on top of it. You got to monitor your progress. So I think that's the key, and I think whatever steps they chose to do last year were effective. I cannot take credit for it though. I wasn't there.
This focused learning is going to help you achieve that steady growth by being able to identify the below-level students.
I think it's going to help the children that are in this category. I think it's going to help push them more toward proficiency. But I think this area right here will also move forward because it'll be more of an enrichment to them. I think they'll be the group that really embrace it at home and utilize it at home and move forward with it. See, the teachers can monitor what's going on at home, and I can monitor what's going on in the whole school. And Mr. Lyons can monitor what's going on across the whole district. But that you've got to monitor. That's the key piece, I think, for improvement. You've got to monitor progress. Good questions. No more, please. That's all I can take. No, I'm just teasing.
What are you doing to address the writing deficiency?
Well, there's a component in Compass Learning that will address that. And also, the district purchased the Journey language arts textbook, and it's got that writing component in there too. So those are two strategies that will help improve that.
Well, you explained it real well.
Thank you. Thank you.
So you're all doing Daily 5 also? How are you incorporating in? How are your teachers incorporating? Your set time for Daily 5? So much time a day?
But you would have to ask those teachers because they're doing that. I'm not sure what part of the day they're doing it. I know we have extended school service people that are coming in and pulling out for that. I feel like Glasscock is committed to improving. I really do. We lost one.
He's just had all the stand.
Well, you had me tardy. You had tardies
Really? We had parent-teacher conferences tonight before this, and we had a huge turnout.
So
That was encouraging. And they got to see the standard-based report cards for the first time, and they were all produced online, and they were very impressive. They look nice. And we appreciate the district personnel helping us do that. We'll just keep on.
I'd like to see a report card. It's been a long time since I looked at it.
Oh, I should have brought you one.
Yeah.
If I had
Well,
thought about it,
it's
I would have
nothing
brought
like
you
you
a
had
report
when
card.
you were in school, Michael. I can assure you.
I was thinking more along the lines of what my kids had. Not me.
I always thought you might be going. Thought you might be reminiscing.
I'm not going that far back.
Well, the elementary ones are totally different from kindergarten.
Oh, really?
You list all the standards on it. And you got, it's not a numerical anymore, it's this mastery,
progressing, not mastered.
That's how it used to be. Rebecca last time, and in kindergarten it was master.
Yeah, that used to be a-
Yeah, and is that for all grades now?
It is with standards based, but then we still have conventional you'll see a percentile for spelling, you'll see a percentile for social studies, and a percentile for science.
I know you did the reading and math, standards, science too.
It's standards based. Thank you for coming to the green section.
Thank you.
You're welcome.